hours a day.
What do we pay you for?
I usually just go into a public bathroom and cry. And just lock the door and just cry.
Fair. So is that a broad
very lucrative,
marketing?
Surprisingly. No, I've been working in digital marketing, so e-commerce type stuff for the last 8 years or so. Marketing, and there's a lot of different sides to it. I mean, I sort of focus on e-commerce stuff, so going into people's websites and basically telling them, you know, what they've fucked up. And helping them make more money by targeting promotions and things like that.
Can you say which people you work with? Are you allowed to say that?
No.
No, right?
No.
Not on this show.
No. Well, I mean, in terms of different companies I work for, I'm working for an agency right now called ROI DNA, but I've worked for Symantec as well as a few companies in Canada, but work with a lot of software companies in the Bay Area here. But yeah, I mean, marketing is really spreading your message and trying to get people to use whatever you're building, whether it's software, whether it's some sort of service, whether it's a product, trying to get that out there to people. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. A lot of it goes into design, a lot of it goes into product planning, a lot of it goes into you know, buying advertising, but it's, you know, a lot of people think marketing like, oh, well, that's just like putting up ads and stuff like that, but it's not. There's a lot of sort of deeper strategy behind it in terms of, okay, well...
Deeper strategy being things you can never measure.
No, not necessarily. It's just sort of like thinking ahead, because if you have sort of an enterprise level, which is just code word for really expensive service, that you're offering.
Bazinga! I'm working on it. I'm working on my catchphrase.
That's my catchphrase. Then you're going to have a very different marketing plan than someone who is selling T-shirts to club kids, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be going after different crowds. You're going to be advertising in different areas. You're going to have different kinds of messaging. You know, people who come and buy like a $10,000 service from you are not going to want to like click add to cart. They're going to want to talk to somebody on the phone, so you're going to need to capture that information. So that's sort of like the most kind of like basic differentiation between different kinds of strategies, but to try and get things working as well as possible, so obviously we can make as much money as possible with our different businesses, you know, you really need to sort of craft that strategy over time.
Do you find then there's like a pretty broad, like, I mean, it sounds like, you know, it's SEO, it's web design, it's UX, it's a lot of shit. Like, how do you then deal with, from, like, marketing has always had in my mind as a startup founder is this, like, separate entity, right? It's like, oh, have a marketing person do marketing, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And it sounds like, I mean, obviously I know nothing about it because I'm shit at marketing. But, yeah, obviously. Right, but, like, what do you think then, like, do you have trouble integrating with like the tech side of it? Is it
sometimes? Sometimes be a challenge is when we come into a very sort of I would say developer-oriented company, and who is not as receptive to the sales process or doesn't have experience with it and doesn't know what it means to sort of craft a message to people or don't understand why it's important. Yeah, I mean that can be a challenge, but it is really not as separate as it used to be, because I'll give you an example. What a lot of people do in apps markets is they'll go in, they'll create an app, they'll have something where you know, you have like the free version and then you can buy the full version.
Right.
Pretty basic. People who go a little bit deeper than that, especially in games, you can go in and, okay, there's the free version, and you can use that as long as you want, and then you sort of pay for extras as you go.
The in-app content stuff.
Exactly, in-app purchases and things like that. That's sort of an extra layer, and you can begin to see like optimizing the way that people purchase those and making sure that people notice them really goes into the product design and really needs to have that level of thinking a little bit further on in the process, rather than having the product completed and then like, oh, I guess we need some people to like figure out how to sell this stuff.
Do you find then that process? Sorry, I'm just totally taking over the hosting right
now. No, I mean, if you have questions,
I am genuinely curious about it.
I was just going to ask what. So boxers or briefs? Yeah, go ahead if you have questions. Let me hear them.
No, so I was going to say, do you find like working with startups then that, because you know obviously you work for a like a consulting company. Do you like? I imagine you work with both small companies and big companies.
Yeah, all over the place. I mean, for big companies, they have like, you know, massive marketing teams, but they have sort of that big company problem. They can't move fast enough, so they use us.
So with startups, at what point do you think we should look for someone to start marketing our product? And what's a good budget, would you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends, again, on what you're doing. I think you should be thinking about it from day one in terms of, okay, we have this great idea. Who are we selling it to? What do they want to see in terms of features? And it just goes into the product design from day one, in my opinion. In terms of budget, I mean, it really depends on what you're trying to do and sort of what stage you're at, and of course how much money you have.
Zero usually.
Zero usually, yeah. And there are things that are cheaper. I mean, SEO is technically free. I mean, you can learn sort of the basics online and sort of start doing it yourself. There are things like affiliate programs where you technically just sort of, pay as you go, but those aren't really appropriate for every kind of business again.
So would you say it's something that you get what you put into it?
Oh, definitely, yeah. But you can waste a lot of money too. I mean, you can go into these things like
freaking keyword optimization shit on AdWords and whatever. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean,
or like a guy holding an arrow, spinning it on 16th and Mission for luxury Ferrari rides.
Yeah. It turns out the conversion rate on that dude, not so hot. But I mean, you can pour a lot of money into display marketing or pay-per-click ads, AdWords type stuff. Right. But unless you sort of really read up on how to optimize those things, or know who you're pointing these ads at, you're going to get all this traffic, and people are just going to be like, "What the hell is this I just clicked through to? I'm out of here." That feeds back into Google's whole freaking algorithm, and I won't get into that rabbit hole, but it ends up costing you more and more money.
Right. So I guess, do you find that then startups? Okay, so you say like they've got to have this idea of how to market from day one. Do you find that when you get called into, I guess, do you prefer getting called into startups, or do you prefer getting called into big companies? Which is, I mean, they both obviously have their problems. Startups maybe can't conceptualize like what they have to do for to market their product, and big companies you're maybe like working with this tiny section of what
it really depends. It really depends. I mean, I've had good experiences and bad experiences with both. I think what's most important is that the person that I'm working with, I'm the strategist working with the client, as long as they have an open mind with sort of marketing strategies, so they're going to accept the different things that I suggest, or at least challenge them on even grounds.
So basically they're not paying you to be a yes man.
Exactly. And basically that they be open to suggestion and to understand the value of what we're doing. I mean, the worst thing is that when we go through and we spend all this time crafting strategy and going through and like creating this whole targeting plan for them, and then it's like, oh, okay, but this guy I hired in India for $2 an hour, he said he's
Why do you point to me?
I was putting through you to India. It's obviously that way.
I think I'm the brownest guy here. That's racist.
Hey, what are you saying?
Are you saying racism is wrong?
What up? So that's cool. So do you prefer to work with startups or large companies? You said large companies because they already have kind of a system in place where they expect and kind of it's easier to work with.
I've had good experiences with both. I mean, the thing is really that they be a partner rather than.
If there's one thing that the audience members should take away from marketing, what is it? What do you think they should know?
Don't wait. They need to think about it from day one. It needs to go into product design, and really need to be thinking, from day one about how are we selling this, who are we selling it to, and what do they want to see out of this product in terms of features, in terms of sales materials. I mean, I was shopping for a service for like it was a marketing service that we wanted to use, and I went out there and. There's all these people who supposedly have great products, but none of them have demo videos on their website, and they don't even have white papers that you can download to sort of understand what their product is. You're supposed to call them and like get this whole in-person demo.
So what is a white paper?
Sorry. Oh, a white paper.
No, I mean like this is good.
Speak marketing to me.
Yeah. No, a white paper is just sort of marketing jargon for like basically a PDF that's kind of technical, and it really goes into a lot of detail about what a product is, and some sort of...
So those are like the basics you think someone should need is a video and a white paper.
It depends on what you're selling. Again, if you're selling shirts, you don't need a webcam.
Our audience are primarily maybe startups. Like
startups selling
web
shirts.
apps.
Yeah, I would say
we hate those people.
Like good walkthrough videos of your product are very important, especially if it's some sort of SaaS product or something like that. Even apps, the most successful ones, they all have demo videos that they can upload to the App Store and things like that. And those really improve conversion rates quite a bit on the App Store and download rates. And
if you're not using a retired WWF wrestler, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Hulk Hogan is pretty cheap right now. He's trying to open up a restaurant.
The Macho Man.
Wow.
The Macho Man.
Yeah, he's trying to open up a restaurant in Florida called, I think it's called Hogan's Beach or something like that.
A restaurant?
Yeah.
Dude, I would totally eat there.
Yeah. He's trying to make it a chain. I don't know if it's going to take off, Hulk, but I hope so. It'd be great.
Just fine.
So if you're looking to invest, go to hulkbeach.com. I don't know the URL, but it's here. It's here. Okay, great. So we talked about marketing.
So next topic.
Yeah, so retired WWF wrestlers, where are they now? What are they doing?
What kind of masks are they wearing?
Where's the Macho Man Randy Savage?
He died.
He's dead.
Yeah, he died.
You're gonna make me cry.
No, he literally died.
He was the best.
I know. The guy who did the snap into a Slim Jim.
Yeah.
That was him.
No, wait, who did the murder-suicide and killed his family and...
No, that
was definitely somebody. I forget his name.
It was not Lou Albino. Was that his name?
No, that actually happened up in Canada, pretty close to where I'm from.
Yeah, he was a Canadian. That's why he's crazy.
Yeah,
You can't trust those foreigners.
It's the weather. It makes him nuts.